What's the actual truth when it comes to white labeling, and why the hell are so many people afraid to admit that they're white labeled and willing to lie to people and tell them that they're not? Well, I've got the actual inside scoop, so listen to this video. So the first thing I want to do though is I want to show you this chart that I found. It lays out the first thing I want to get into, and that's the difference between private labeling and white labeling. And let me show you very quickly. So white labeling is going to be an example of these brushes. You guys have seen these before. I don't even have my logo on them, right? They're mass produced. I can buy them in high quantity, get the price down, and get them in your guys' hands. Easy day. The reason why this stuff gets a little bit nuanced is because as soon as I put a logo on there, let's say I change the color, that's when things start to get weird, and it can even introduce another concept called black labeling. Let's take this foam can and say, you know, instead of brass internals, I want stainless steel, right? You make it more luxurious, you make it better, etc., etc. Now, here's a good example of the difference between white label and private label, or where you start to get weird and exceed even private label, and that's kind of where I'm at with my current foam cannon, okay? I didn't make any substantial changes to this. I changed the color, I slapped my logo on it, and I called it a day. That's like white label. Private label, if you want to consider the fact that I changed the colors and things like that, and really nobody else has that version. It starts to get a little bit weird is when you start making substantial changes to how something operates, right? So for example, with this foam cannon, due to my demands, it no longer leaks. This was completely remanufactured and remolded. No longer tips. We had to get a new mold for the bottom here to add a new dot there so that it didn't tip anymore. In addition to those things that I had the manufacturer do, I've done some other things like completely changed the mesh filter. We're gonna have something called an apex filter inside there. I haven't seen anybody really do this before. Can you help create like a very thick foam? I've also upgraded the straw to be extremely chemical resistant. It's platinum silicone, which really nobody does. That's like super medical grade stuff, but it's gonna be more chemically resistant, more flexible, and it should help it last a long time, so that this is a true product for professionals. Then I have something else big that's gonna go with this that I can't really reveal right now. That's what's really gonna tip the scales. I really gotta start, you know, thinking about protecting my intellectual property, probably talking to an attorney and putting that whole package together, and nobody will ever be able to do what I'm doing again without me getting some sort of royalty. Another IP protection, just while we're talking about it, is gonna be trademarking. That's kind of the first step to protect your brand, image, likeness, all that. Now let's get into the fun part. This is why I think all these companies are lying about the relationships that they do or do not have. Manufacturers have one goal, and that's to build things in mass quantities and flip it and sell it to people for profit as quick as possible. They don't want to go, most of the time, point to point and do retail sales. That requires whole extra teams, psychology analysis, a whole bunch of other stuff. They want to